sports are really important vehicles for relationships.
We have purpose. We have a why. We bring people together. We connect.
I feel like God is our greatest supporter and our greatest coach.
Mark, can you hear us?
Now I can. I didn't
Great.
hear any. I must have dropped you. I'm sorry.
No problem. It's good to see you with the owner of the Minnesota Vikings and the owner of MLS.
Can we start over? I'm sorry.
No problem. 1 second.
I just missed the whole thing, and
No problem.
Sports are really important vehicles for relationships.
We have purpose. We have a why. We bring people together. We connect.
I feel like God is our greatest supporter and our greatest coach.
Welcome to Rabbi on the Sidelines. This is Rabbi Sherman from Sinai Temple in Los Angeles. This week we are joined by the co-owner of the Minnesota Vikings, owner of MLS, Orlando City Soccer Club, owner of NWSL's Orlando Pride, past chair of the Jewish Federations of North America, currently the chairman of the Jewish Agency's Board of Governors, Mark Wilf. It's wonderful to have you on Rabbi on the Sidelines.
Thanks for having me. Great to be with you.
Great to be with you. And actually, we had the opportunity to meet not in Minnesota, New Jersey, or LA, but in fact in Haifa. And one of the most amazing things that I just told you off the air has changed my life as a rabbi, as a human being, as a Jew, as somebody deeply connected to the state of Israel. And that's, I think, the world's best kept secret called the voice of the people. We're going to dive right into that. But first, we like to say in this show, Kodesh and Chol. We do sacred and we do ordinary. But in your life and in, thankfully, my life, they actually go like this. They intersect. So let's start with your sports journey, actually. As a kid growing up in New Jersey, the child of Holocaust survivors that I know you speak proudly about. What was it like in Jersey as a sports fan, and what led you to that route first?
Well, again, thanks for having me on. And certainly I've been blessed with an incredible family legacy and story. My parents, Holocaust survivors, born in Poland and lived through the Shoah and, of course, all the loss they had. But they came with a spirit of hope and a future when they came to the United States in 1950 in Birmingham, Alabama. And so for me, growing up in New Jersey, was surrounded by all things American culture that was so important. Love of football, love of family and community, and all those things that my parents set a great example with. So we went to New York Giants football games and all the rest. And that was a real important way of becoming part of the American scene.
One of my favorite quotes on this podcast is from Rabbi Solomon Schechter that says, you can't be a rabbi in America without speaking about baseball because sports was the immigrant experience. How did that shape the life from your parents to you, where football was not exactly in the language of my grandparents in Poland either?
Well, again, for my parents in a time when there was no state of Israel, the Jewish people were forgotten and nearly completely wiped out. And so to come from those ashes and the United States of America was the golden Medina and gave my family hope. And when they came here, they fully embraced, like you said, the immigrant experience. For us, again, going to football games, baseball too, but more football, New York Giants games. My father and uncle were in the real estate business. We still are in the business almost 70 years later. And they built homes for some of the players, got to know some of them. They had a partner who was a former college player. And so going to games was a big part of our growing up, going to all those games and being around sports. And again, that kind of supplemented the way of life we led, going to school, going to yeshiva, going to being part of the community. We had a rabbi in New Jersey, Rabbi Pinchas Teitz, and the Teitz family were very instrumental in bringing many Holocaust survivor families to northern New Jersey, and where they went on to live productive lives.
So I know your family is very active in the Yeshiva University world, and there's a story I want to share with you that you probably don't know. My dad's also a conservative rabbi, went to Yeshiva University, and a very famous picture that actually appeared on ESPN of him holding a Gemara on the bench. And so actually, I'll send that to you. But there was more Gemara study for him than on the court time. But what was your journey to management? Every kid that sits in my office, I say, "What do you want to do in your bar mitzvah?" I want to play in the NBA. I want to play in the NFL. What led you into that world of sports that you can make a difference, perhaps not with a helmet on your head?
Well, it was something, always a dream in the back of our heads. My brother, Ziggy, my cousin Lenny, myself, all of us always loved sports, and the thought that one day our business and our success could be enough to be able to enter the world of sports. My father and uncle had opportunities to enter into the NFL as early as the 1960s for a mere pittance, $50,000 to buy the New York Titans, or a few $1 million to buy the Philadelphia Eagles. Those opportunities came and went, and it was always in our mind to get involved in sports. And when the Minnesota Vikings opportunity came up in 2005, we were eager to invest in it, and we were minority partners. And then eventually, through the process of buying the team, we became the controlling owner. And so here we are, and 21 years later, it's been an incredible journey. Every day has been a blessing. It's a tremendous privilege to be part of the NFL, to be part of the professional sports world. And it's a great way to kind of blend in some of the things that we care so deeply about, in particular community and team building. And those are Jewish values. Those are values from many religions. And so we find sports to be an incredible platform for those things as well.
And so this word intersection, right? You have the Wilf Foundation, you have Voice of the People, you have Jewish Agency, you have federations, and then you have NFL. Are there moments where you say, yes, this is a intentional way of intersecting sports of faith, or is it a more organic way of doing it?
Well, it's probably a little bit of both. I think all those values that we just spoke about kind of intersect, and that's part of what your show's about, and kol hakavod and all the work you do kind of discussing some of these things. So they go hand in hand. And again, I find, and the lessons my parents taught us, is the more you give, the more you are part of the community, the more you get back. And I think the same holds in any business, and professional sports with such a public-facing platform is no different. We have found our lives so fully enriched by the people we've met, the experiences we've been able to put together, and for fans, for people that want hope and resilience. And sports is just such a great inspiration for everybody out there.
But before we move to the more sacred piece of Voice of the People, Kevin O'Connell, JJ McCarthy, the more you give, the more you get. They give a lot. What are we going to get this year?
Well, we're excited about the season ahead. And Coach O'Connell, now entering his 4th season, has really set in place a real strong culture in our building of teamwork, of pulling together, doing your job, but also being part of the greater whole. Kwesi, our GM, and bringing in someone like JJ McCarthy, and all the draft picks and free agents we brought in. We feel great about the future. We're excited for the season ahead, just a few weeks away. So always an exciting time. Our fans are the best fans in the NFL, and we can't wait to get it going.
And so let's transition to, again, where I had the opportunity to meet you in person, and your speech that night at the gala for Voice of the People was truly inspiring. Voice of the People were 150 Jewish leaders, 50 North America, 50 Israel, 50 the rest of the world. The people in the rest of the world didn't like that label. But when we got there, President Herzog told us, you're not here to find solutions, but in fact, you're here to fall in love with problems. What drew you to Voice of the People, to the Wilf Family Foundation, to invest in the future of the Jewish people, specifically connected to the land and people of Israel?
Well, we've had a foundation and a family philosophy of giving back, and some of the themes we like to give around within the Jewish world are certainly about building community, education, hugely important, and leadership. And all of those kind of are encapsulated in the Voice of the People initiative. And of course, a personal relationship, which I've been privileged to have with President Herzog. As some of you may know, the president was previously the chairman executive of the Jewish Agency for Israel. So I got to know him through that work as well. And so he's a tremendous inspirational leader because for many reasons, but one thing that I admire is his ability to understand that Israel is yes, the state of the Jewish people, but also representing world Jewry around the world. And so as diaspora Jews, we should feel very included, very part of the building of the Jewish world. And I think this initiative does that. I know you mentioned how influential it's been for you, but bring together a diverse group of young Jewish leaders to engage with all these challenges. I think our biggest challenge, and we have so many external ones, anti-Semitism and all the military challenges, and they're grave challenges. But I think in the end, hopefully, those will subside to the degree they can. But in the end, our biggest challenge has always been, through thousands of years of history, has been ourselves.
Yes.
So we need to dialogue with each other. We need to understand each other better, and really, by that, to continue to be the example to the world that we are. And I think that our values can be a real blessing to the world.
And I know, first of all, a shout out to Shirel Dagan Levy, who's the CEO of VOP. And I can tell you here at Sinai Temple, just over the last few months since Haifa, many VOP members have come not just through LA, but actually stood on our bima and modeled that dialogue of differences and diversity, specifically within the Jewish people as well.
It's very exciting to see it all come to life through you and through others that have been inspired by this. So it's only just the beginning, and I think it's going to be here to stay. We need this platform and other platforms, but this one with the president's office at the helm can really hopefully make a difference and set some roots for a better Jewish future.
And I know the vision of Voice of the People began pre-10/7, but was instituted post-10/7. Any changes that you would see perhaps in that vision from pre, where there were some challenges and differences between the people, and then post, where there was a unity, and now we're sort of diverging again?
It's quite interesting because a lot of people assume this was a reaction to October.
Right.
It is the exact opposite of that, because, like I said, this problem, or this challenge, I should say, and with challenge comes opportunity, has been around for millennia. And October 7th, we had to pause, obviously, with all the goings on and the tremendous tragedies that we're dealing with, and even today with the hostages, and hoping and praying for their return. But the mission has not changed dramatically. Maybe some ways in technical aspects of number of groups or how you tackle different issues, but I think the concept and the philosophy hasn't changed one iota. And that's, like I said, to bring people together, have a diverse and strengthened dialogue around issues that are important to the Jewish people.
And so while Voice of the People brings people within the Jewish community together, you've been also successful at bringing interfaith voices together. One of the first people that I had on this show was actually a friend of yours, Kevin Warren, who, when I read a tweet after Yeshiva University's long basketball streak, he congratulated them, but then he told the most powerful story of his father, a World War II veteran, who showed him pictures of Auschwitz and Buchenwald firsthand. And Kevin Warren had a love for the Jewish people. Explain that relationship and what that looked like off the field that was probably even more powerful than what we saw on TV.
Well, one of the first people we met on our sports journey and the Vikings journey was Kevin, and I personally have a great deal of love, respect, and admiration for him. I know he just wrote a memoir about his own life story, which is cool, and how he had a terrible accident when he was a youngster, and he had to be in the hospital for close to a year, and how he recovered, and his resilience. And to this day, he's a great role model on that front. So he himself is a model. And we've had many deep conversations about what you mentioned about his father being a World War II veteran, and talking about the camps. And a lot of that went into the football building. I mean, we had many instances of where our players and my family, we share our stories, our backgrounds, mine, of course, being a Holocaust immigrant story. Many of them have come from tremendously difficult backgrounds as well. And we've done things together, like trips to Washington with young people to see the African American Museum and the Holocaust Museum with our players and alumni. Those type of educational moments are so crucial. George Floyd happened a little over a mile from our stadium. And so how do you respond to those things? And like you're talking about the voice of the people, the same goes for the broader secular world. Dialogue, conversation, figuring out ways to move forward. We do a lot with our players with social justice. We ask our players for the initiatives they care about. We fund together, and they get to select many of the nonprofits that they work with to create social justice as well. So there's a lot, like I said, with the sports world where you can do so much good with the platform, and it's something very exciting to us.
And so I know you've actively been involved with Yad Vashem and your family as well. There's some beautiful interviews with you on YouTube with the foundation there. As we enter a world with less and less survivors, that it's our responsibility, your generation, my generation, now my children's generation. What are the perhaps lessons that you've seen actually in the sports world that you can bring to our community that can not just simply propel memory, but bring the lessons that we all need to learn?
I think it's the same. If I don't want to take a sports term too far, but it's the same playbook. It's conversation, it's dialogue, it's learning about where we all come from, and from that base of a shared humanity, we can move forward in a positive manner. So again, sports as a starting point brings people together, and so no matter what your political or personal beliefs are, I think the more we understand each other, the better chance we have to create a better future.
I want to go back to the sports world for a moment in terms of the success of building a team, because I think that also translates way off of the court. Even within our own synagogue, a large synagogue, you have to build a team. I use sports analogies all the time. What is the success of literally building a team? Because I know that you can have the best players, but not necessarily get the best results. How do you vision that leading to Sunday mornings?
Well, I think our Torah values as a Jewish religion, or a sports team with the values they share, the culture they bring. It's about setting up the culture and setting up the value system. So, in our sports world, the teams we've had that have been successful is where the coaches, the players, and the staff are all aligned in terms of the shared vision, in terms of sacrificing for the greater good, and so and doing your job individually. And so those themes resonate throughout, and so we have to, that's how we keep building it. And I kind of enjoy the fact that I think as people, it's something very powerful to be part of something larger than yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so whether it's for anybody, particularly young people, they want to feel a connection. I think with social media and all the rest, there's that challenge of people getting isolated. And so, like I said, sports, community, religion even have powers in terms of bringing people together.
And what's something that we don't see as an owner that you do on a daily basis that puts this all together and creating that culture?
Well, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and the culture also extends to the business office. And there are challenging times, like in any situation. We had a player last year who was killed in a car accident, a recent draft pick, and particularly our young players, were deeply affected. And so you do have those challenges, like a broader family, where things happen, and there's loss, and there's even injuries, which is part of the sports business. These are hopes and dreams of young people, and sometimes in a flash of an instant, that dream is extinguished, and they have to transition to a different life. So we very much view our players and our alumni as much as it is a business, as a broader family. So we embrace our alumni. We recognize that they have helped build something dramatic. And so there's a lot goes on to make sure we keep a close-knit feel. Yes, it's a business, but I know when we do hoist that Lombardi trophy, not just Viking fans, but our entire Vikings family that have gone through our building will also feel a part of that as well.
So will Sinai Temple as well, and we can't wait to that frigid moment. The idea I ask each of our guests is there faith in X, whether you're basketball, football, wrestling, boxing, etc. Is there faith in football, or have you actually seen that perhaps in the locker room with chaplaincy, on the field, and in their lives?
Well, faith is part of any sports world. I think it's a big part of it, but certainly I was not surprised, but I'm amazed about how deep faith is a part of football. In fact, the founding of football came out of the faith-based schools, creating ways for young men to participate in a team-building exercise, and that's kind of some of the roots of football. But faith is a tremendous part of sports, because Again, there's a lot of strange things that happen on a field, off the field, and we need to be, counting our blessings. And I think the discipline of keeping faith is important for sports athletes and for sports teams. And I can tell you, there are challenging times, a difficult defeat or a difficult personal moment where you have to rely on faith to move on toward the future.
I remember a couple of years ago when Damar Hamlin had that devastating injury with the Bills, and the New York Times article literally speaking about faith in football and that moment of community in the stadium, but also broadcasters literally praying on TV, not just for health, but also for the courage to make sure that we can get to the next step as well.
There's a tremendous bond in the sports community among everybody, because we all know how challenging all of it is, the winning, the losing, the striving. And so when you have those type of tremendous challenges or calamities even, you need to pull together, because it's very tough to handle it on your own.
I'm going to go to one last topic, specifically LA 2028 in the Olympics. And I want to talk about Israel and how the Jewish Agency, how that's going to work. Actually, in a couple of weeks, we'll have Peter Palchik, one of the judo champions here at Sinai Temple. What do you see as the role, for instance, of Israel as they enter the sports world on a greater level over these last couple of years? Israelis not being accepted into the world based on the Magen David on their jersey, on their flag. How does sports fit into that piece and putting it all together?
Well, again, we need to be very much proud of our heritage. I think Jewish people around the world are always proud of Israeli athletes and the state of Israel. And so we must, like I said, we need to bring among ourselves, first and foremost, to feel proud of our heritage, to advocate where it's challenged or threatened. And thankfully now, something my parents and grandparents did not have 80 years ago, we have a state of Israel. We have an IDF. We have a country like the United States of America, to me still the greatest country in the world, that accepts Jewish people, accepts people from all faiths, and is a real melting pot. And those are the kind of values that hopefully give us the support to speak out when we're challenged, to be proud when things go well, hopefully at the Olympics and any other venue. And so that's the way we have to approach it.
So 3 closing questions. One, the ordinary. Then in LA, we have Rams and Chargers. What do you have from the Vikings desk for Rams and Chargers fans out here?
I'm sorry, but for Rams and Chargers fans?
Yeah, what can we look forward to out here?
I can tell you, I have so much focus on the Minnesota Vikings. I would two great coaches and Coach McVay and Coach Harbaugh and great franchises and great ownership. So I would never dare to tell you where that's going to go. We have our hands full in the NFC North with our own team and beating teams that we have to face. So we're looking forward to be actually in LA at the end of October. So hopefully we'll see some of your listeners out there as well.
Well, I hope if you are out here for Shabbos and Aliyah is yours, and we'd love to, you represent the voice of the people here at Sinai Temple. It's important to us to have that continuity as well. We're also 4 weeks away from Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the High Holy Days. Perhaps a message from the Jewish Agency, from you to the people, not just the Jewish community, but people of the world, from the Jewish Agency. What should we do as we enter this space in this new year?
Like I said, I think to try to experience Judaism in any way you can, whether it's bringing people to Shabbat, having the experiential way to go about it, whether it's to have trips to Israel. We have so many connecting points. We brought thousands of summer campers this past summer to all over the world from Israel, and we need to be together. We need to experience the connections that make Israel not just a map, but a shared home and responsibility. So I urge all of us to understand each other better, to be more tolerant of one another, and remember, we're a small number, but our value system is something hopefully the young people that are watching or listening can continue to experience all the great things that our Jewish heritage brings, as well as our connections to the state of Israel.
And so finally, looking back at your journey, you have the Holocaust legacy, you have NFL ownership, you have the Israel leadership piece going towards tomorrow. What do you most hope for the story that will teach not just me, and you've already taught me, especially this past year, but my children, and God willing, their children as well?
Well, I think, my family's story is is something I'm very proud of. And I think the base knowledge is with freedom, with opportunity, with tolerance, comes hopefully a better future for all of us. And so we need to continue to strive for those values, make sure they're kept all over the world. And I think our own family story is one small light among many. But thank you, like I said, to a great United States of America, great state of Israel. Those opportunities can grow, and we need to spread that more.
Well, I do know that based on what you have given all of us, you have allowed us those opportunities in order for not just simply me to grow, but my community, the Jewish people, Sinai Temple, and God willing, the world. And Or LaGoyim. Mark Wilf, owner of the Minnesota Vikings, chairman of the Jewish Agency's Board of Governors. We are truly, truly honored that you spent time during this preseason. I know you have already converted many, many fans out here to Minnesota Vikings. We're looking forward to following not just the Vikings, but your journey and what you do for this wonderful, wonderful people, this country, and the state of Israel. Mark Wilf, thank you so much for joining us, and Rabbi on the Sidelines.